Rusty, because it looks like a bit of me, but everyone has the same engines in the car, 525 horsepower, 4-speed gearbox, and they're thrilling cars to watch these Trans Ams.
Your wish may be granted, young man. Okay, Nathan Hearn will start this one from pole position alongside Aaron Seaton. Now, if you saw our coverage yesterday, you would know that Owen Kelly started the weekend in really strong form. We were scheduled to have a second race yesterday afternoon, but given how treacherous, how wet the conditions were, that race was abandoned. Run again this morning at 9 o'clock before we came on air. Unfortunately for Owen, he had some dramas with the 73 with a power steering issue. It let go, and the words from the team was kind of shades of Greg Murphy, 97 here in the HRT Commodore.
Yeah, and I was watching it this morning. It's exactly where the cars are here. Last corner, one of the high-speed corners on this. It is the high-speed corner on the circuit, and he ended up on the right of screen here in the gravel trap. He managed to avoid the fence. They've fixed that car. He's off the back row of the grid, but on the front row, Aaron Seaton on our right-hand side. He's off second, and Nathan Hearn's the pole man in that white Dodge.
Aaron picked up 10 grand at Baskerville before this event. Winner of Race Tasmania in that V8 Sleuthback Mustang, that blue entry, and away they go. Big field of cars here. We should also say a thank you to the teams and people from TA2 who decided to come and play at this round, and it's bolstered our field. We've got a great field of cars here, Jack.
Oh, and the sound then when they hit the green light and they all jump on the gas was just awesome past the commentary box here. It's a pretty clean start so far, Rusty. Nathan Hearn got the jump on Aaron Seaton there in second. Young Kyle Girton there in third place. A little bit argy-bargy back there. That's Nash Morris and Brett Holdsworth, the son of Paul Morris and the brother of Lee Holdsworth. So some great names in this one.
I'm glad you bring up Nash Morris. He is doing a super job. Ran that car at Sydney Motorsport Park last weekend, picked up a race win, spoke to Paul on Friday, said he was in the top 8. We're happy. That's where he needs to be. He keeps on building this teenager, doesn't he? Doing a super job.
Yeah, and this year's his first year driving these bigger powered cars. He's in the Super 3 Supercar Championship as well. Now getting extra mileage in these Trans Ams, and it's absolutely vital to get that experience as a young up-and-coming racer. But we're back up this battle at the front. Aaron Seaton right on the back bumper of young Nathan Hearn. He did a great job this morning to pick up the victory, but Aaron Seaton already applying lots of pressure.
These are two guys, both Aaron and Nathan, who have an eye on the future, and they are keeping themselves busy with all sorts of motor racing. We know that Nathan is at the wheel of the Trans Am car as well as S5000. Aaron knows how to win the title in this class and proudly carries the #1. Son of Glenn Seaton, legend of touring car racing, grandson of Bo Seaton. And in addition to what he's doing here in Trans Am, he's in Super 2 this season as well.
Yeah, and it's great for Aaron to get a lot more mileage and a lot more experience, and then it provides the opportunities to progress through the ranks. And he's applying maximum pressure.
Oh.
Big slide for Nathan Hearn through turn 1. That would be right around 200 kilometres an hour through there, Rusty. And Nathan Hearn had armfuls of opposite lock there, keeping his Dodge Challenger on the track. Aaron Seaton up the inside, nearly a little bit of oversteer, I think, when he first picked up the throttle, and it's allowed Kyle Girton to get a bit of a run on him in third place. Kyle Girton, I spoke to Nick Percat yesterday, a guy that's worked with him quite closely in other racing formulas. He speaks very highly of this young kid, and he's really applying the pressure there in third.
Comes from Queensland, only drove one of these cars in the last 12 months, and has really come onto our radar this weekend, but was prominent in that Morris Finance entry at Simmons Plains as well. Let's go to the lane. Chris?
Thank you. I've got Paul the Dude Morris, Bathurst winner. You've got Flash, your son Nash is out there. He's had a great weekend, and this car was in great form at SMP only last weekend, but a little bit of an incident there to start this one.
Oh, I didn't see any of that, but you know, that's car racing. Good thing about this class is you don't need a laptop, you just need a couple of guys in the toolbox, and you can teach people a fair bit about the mechanical aspects of the car. So we're learning a lot about our racecraft and racing and tuning the car and working our way forward. It's good.
He loves having a steer of anything he can get into, and he's really progressing well, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that's important. You've got to, you know, people say things don't suit your style, but if you're any good, you can drive anything, and that's what he's trying to do.
Great to see you back here at the Owen Go Well.
It's pretty good here, isn't it?
Sure is. Car is owned by Carl Begg, a production car racer, really supportive of youngsters in motorsport, and motorsportsales.com is his deal. So nice to see all of that coming together. That support up in front. Seaton, he said to me this morning, I'm going to have to hustle, I'm going to have to get aggressive. Jack, that's what we're seeing at Doohan Corner.
Huge move by Aaron Seaton. He got to run down the front straight here. He was on the outside of turn 1, big commitment. He made it stick and put him on the inside for turn 2 at Southern Loop, and he's got the job done. Aaron Seaton leads away on board with Nathan Hearn into turn 3. This is a flat out corner on the approach to the slowest corner, Honda corner down here. Hard on the brakes, and Aaron Seaton got the job done. Brett Holdsworth out on the grass under brakes. Lots of grass and debris in the front intake of that car. So Brett there just maybe ran wide under brakes or got pushed wide while trying to make a passing manoeuvre, and he's gathered it back up. But the lead group here, Aaron Seaton, great job to get that move done around turn 1.
It'd be enormously hard to imagine that he could get to this group and battle with them, but Owen Kelly has rallied. He is up to position number 10. Got the eyes on.
That, from the back row of the grid, that's a fantastic job by Owen. And, you know, he's a hardcore racer, isn't he? And right in front of him is Ben Grice, the son of Alan Grice, in 9th. So it'll be interesting to keep watching Owen's progress through the field as we watch Nash Morris in that motorsport sales car. A proud father, Paul Morris, we got to speak to him before. He's standing on top of the pit building there where Stubbsy interviewed him. It's a great spot to stand and watch. You get to see most of this Phillip Island circuit. So he's enjoying this sort of lower level racing where you're not in front of the TV. You don't have to worry about the data and the laptops, like you said.
And I think he posted something on Instagram recently. It was really simple. It was like, H-Pad, how good, you know?
Exactly right.
Old school.
I touched on it at the top of the race. It's a 4-speed H-pattern gearbox. So they're left-hand drive cars. So the drivers are getting used to changing gears with their right hand. And it's a H-speed, so they use all 4 gears around this circuit. It's pretty cool. As we watch a replay of that manoeuvre, this is massive commitment, Rusty. I can't tell you how tight the seatbelts need to be to go around the outside, and they both, to their credit, gave each other a bit of room, and they didn't even trade any paint through there.
I reckon I heard the cheers from Melbourne from Aaron Noonan, V8 Sleuth, who's back in that car this weekend when he took the lead. Back to that shot of Holdsworth. Great to see him rejoining. Oh, and Mark Crutcher in the thick of things again today here. Does he keep it off the wall? Looks maybe just like it.
He was in the wars yesterday, Mark Crutcher, but the car's still straight and he's still out there, and it looks like he didn't do any damage there as well.
Love the variety of shapes too, Jack. Sorry, I was going to say.
Yeah, the car shapes are awesome, Rusty. I was just going to touch on the fact that Aaron Seaton, he's bolted. He's out to nearly a 1.5 second lead, so he's got a lot of pace, and this is almost the first time he's had clear air in the races. He got a massive gain in qualifying. He was pole by some margin, and he's just sort of been finding himself in P2 on the road, and this is his first time where he's got to the lead and he's really stretching the legs.
Why don't we go to pit lane? I think Chris has tracked down a 2-time Supercars champion who's playing crew chief, and Stubbsy, we want to know, is this the resurgence, the re-emergence of Marcus Ambrose Motorsport?
I tell you what, we would love to see Marcus Ambrose Motorsports right in the thick of things. We're bouncing from one side to watch it on Gardner Straight, to watch it over the back, so it's plenty going up here. Marcus, great to see you back. We thought it was a one-off in Tassie with Owen Kelly, but you must have loved it that much.
Well, we really had a good time down in Tasmania with the 2 races we did. And we thought this car would be suited to this track, which it is. It's been a really fast car this weekend. We won the first race, but we broke a power steering rack in race 2 there, lucky to keep it off the fence. Owen did a great job, and now we're just trying to salvage something from the weekend, but he's driving great. He's enjoying driving. I'm actually enjoying being the crew chief. It's quite fun.
Are we going to see Marcus Ambrose Motorsport become something big and better?
Well, my girls, Tabitha and Adelaide, are racing now, so maybe we'll do something with them in a little while. But right now, I'm enjoying just helping Owen, turning the wrenches, so to speak. We'll see where it goes.
You wouldn't jump in one?
Oh, well, they look like great cars to drive, but, you know, I've driven a lot of great cars too.
We'll get the campaign going. Go well.
Okay, thank you.
So good to have him as a part of the game here, and it just sort of teleports you for a moment as though you're in Charlotte or Daytona or somewhere. That's his driver, Owen Kelly. We're going to grab a quick break. Stay with us, whatever you do. More from the island in just a few moments. Nice to have you with us wherever you're watching. Trans Ams on track at Phillip Island on what's a glorious day. 180 Jack Perkins of what we had yesterday. Sadly, it meant we couldn't go racing with these cars. They do have a wet weather Hoosier tyre, but just the amount of standing water was too much. It was the right call.
Oh, absolutely, Rusty. Yeah, the stewards or the officials made the right call where there's just too much standing water on the racetrack. It's just too dangerous. When you see cars aquaplaning down the straightaway, you know it's just too dangerous. But thankfully for the competitors, they got a race in this morning, so they didn't lose a race. And now we're experiencing the third and final race. And there have been some great races over the course of the weekend. I really like watching all these young blokes blokes come through. This Nathan Hearn, he's a character. He's got, just looks like he drives the car with a lot of passion. Look at him really wrangling the steering wheel there. And, he's doing double duties. He's in the S5000 as well. Yesterday I went to interview him post-race and he'd already gone because he had to go and run over and jump in the Trans Am. So it's good to see these young kids getting a lot of mileage and really putting their name on top of, the timesheets, but also putting their name in front of Australian motorsport team owners, the journos and everyone to get behind them.
Was strong at the non-championship event at Baskerville, was on the podium there Jack detailed it before, the Morris Finance entry. Kyle Gurton, currently third in this race, is doing a super job. A couple of other standouts, Owen Kelly up to 7th now. Matty McKeldin having a good outing as well in the Kubota entry, up to 8th as we can see Hearn under pressure here. Gets out of it.
Yeah, it's a tricky spot for Kyle to stick around the outside. That's the notorious Hayshed corner, and it's kind of one lane through there, so he wisely backed out of the manoeuvre, and now he needs to look at any other opportunities to sneak past Nathan Hearn. Maybe Nathan Hearn's just struggling with a little bit of tyre quality or something here, Rusty. It looks like he's got a battle on his hands, just keeping the rear of the car stable, not only on corner entry, but corner exit as well. When he gets on the gas, it just looks like it upsets the rear of the car, and these ones, two behind him, both Kyle Gurton and Tim Brook, look like they've got a little bit of pace on him here.
Up in front, Aaron Seaton leads the way by 5.7 seconds. He has the fastest lap of the race at 1 minute 36.23. You're watching 2nd, 3rd and 4th over the line. Nash Morris sits in 5th place, the teenager. A couple of other standouts. Manila around the outside at Doohan Corner, tries to pull it off, doesn't come off. How spectacular does that look?
Yeah, he tried to do what Aaron Seaton did to Nathan Hearn earlier in the race. Just didn't quite have the overlap. He wasn't far enough around the outside to maintain the manoeuvre and got a little bit loose. Once you get outside of the racing line, the track's not as clean. There's dirt, debris, marbles. You can see visually there the dirt and debris on the outside of the racing line. It makes it very challenging to get a job done on around the outside. As we see, he's still trying to find a manoeuvre. Nathan Hearn maybe a little bit defensive there into Honda Hairpin as they head up to the corner we call Siberia, because the next part of the track, as you can see, the ocean, they call it Siberia. So pretty cool little corner names around here at Phillip Island.
Love the sound of those V8s as they stretch the legs in the Trans Ams. If you're a muscle car fan, there's something for you. There's the Dodge body shape like Nathan Hearn has, the Mustang in the hands of Kyle Gurton, and of course the Chev Camaro as well. Back live on a beautiful day at Phillip Island as our coverage of the Shannon's Motorsport Australia Championships continues. Trans Am's on track. We have TCR to come your way and a whole lot more, so stick with us here on 7 for the next few hours. Aaron Seaton has now built a 7.3 second advantage over this group here. Nathan Hearn in the Valvoline entry, currently P2. Tim Brook hanging on to the back of them. Maybe dropped a car length or so in the last couple of laps, Tim Brook.
Yeah, they've been having a great battle there for second place. So we touched on the fact we think Nathan Hearn maybe just struggling a little bit with a bit of rear tyre grip as we ride on board, and you can see him pretty busy on the steering wheel, Rusty. This is Southern Loop. He carries a bit of corner speed through now, starts gently on the throttle. You see straight away correction on the steering wheel, so just easing that power on and battling what we call oversteer, which is a lack of rear grip compared to the front. And this big quick run down here in turn 3, this should be flat out and then hard on the brakes here, and then this Honda Hairpin, one of the slowest corners on the track between this one and MG Hairpin. And he's got those two right on the back bumper. Kyle Burt putting a lot of pressure on the back bumper.
So we'll keep a watching brief on this. Let's take you straight back to the lane, and Chris Stubbs.
Thanks, Rusty. This is an amazing day when you get to catch up with Marcus Ambrose, Paul Morris, and also Glenn Seaton, some of the greats of motorsport in this country. The young fella, Aaron's doing a great job out there.
Yeah, absolutely. He did a very brilliant move at turn 1. That was really impressive. Go around the outside of turn 1, so pretty good effort. But yeah, tyre management's been very good for us for this weekend. The car seems to look after its tyres very well, and he's managing the race pretty good at the moment.
So what's the message to him to bring it home now?
Well, naturally to look after it until we get to the end, because there's still, 6 laps to go, so there's still a long way to go. It's only half race distance, basically. So anything can still happen, like sometimes you can tend to get a puncher or some mechanical thing, so if we just keep pushing on and hopefully we get to the end.
Great racing, great to watch and great to see you here as well. Glenn, enjoy.
Thank you.
Jack, you did a little double take there. Then we call it a super in the business, that little name strip that comes up on the screen. Glenn Seaton, engineer.
And I think he's adopted that title pretty well. He's very well known now for, you know, the post-driving career in tuning people's cars and suspension. And I think he'd be doing a few tweaks on the car of Aaron's. But it's good to see. And just behind Glenn in the garage, the other gentleman there was a guy by the name of Scotty Owen. He was a big engine builder and player in the Glen Seton racing team. So I think they're getting the band back together down there. And just watching and listening to Glenn. And if you've ever had a chance to listen to Aaron, well, you can definitely tell it's straight from the apple.
Off the old block.
Yeah, exactly. That's the saying I was looking for, Rusty. And there we go. There's Scotty Owen there on the right, of the legendary engine builder in the days of Glen Seton racing. And it's good to see. I remember seeing these kids. They were younger than me when I was a kid. And, you know, all these names coming through. We've seen Morris, Nash Morris as well. Even other guys like Owen Kelly, Benny Grice. We've all been around the paddock for such a long time. It's good to see these guys still out racing.
That car of Aaron Seaton's under the Craig Harris umbrella. Craig's competed in the Super 2 series before. Ultra passionate about that operation that they've got there and helping Aaron take that next step in his career. We hope that happens. He's got lots of racing on the schedule this year. It's all good. And it's all good to the point of 9.7 seconds ahead of Nathan Hearn. We go back to Owen Kelly. That's for position, chasing Matt McKeldin. The 73 has come from the rear of the grid to be up into P7 now. Nice drive.
Yeah, great job from Owen as we see Thornborough go around there behind Owen, but Owen's been carving them up, and he'll be enjoying this. He'll be having a battle trying to work out how far up the grid he could get, and he's got Marcus Ambrose cheering him on the radio, which is cool as well.
Eden's a good young guy. I had a chat with him at Simmons Plains and at Masterfield. Comes from Sydney, a teenager. Hasn't had the best of weekends at Phillip Island, so we'll see if that improves next time out for Eden Thornborough. Just on the outside of the top 10, chasing Ben Grice, who is another second-generation race driver, son of the two-time Bathurst winner, Alan Grice. Great to see him having his chance here. A guy that's worked hard and has come through the Excel category, things like that, having a crack at Trans Am.
Yeah, it's cool for Gricey, and he's got another legend behind the scenes helping. Les Small, for those who don't know that name, he's a notorious engineer. In the Thunderdome days, worked with Ben's father, Alan Grice, and it's cool to see a lot of these older guys helping out the younger generation. And you're right, Benny Grice works really hard at his racing, and they work very hard to get this deal together to get in the Trans Am car. It's a car owned by Greg Crick, who's another name that we all know. And young Benny there, they had a clutch drama yesterday in the first race. So he's currently 10th and just getting lots of experience, which is what you need. And that experience will pay dividends. You know, his next race in these cars, he'll learn more about what he needs to go faster and basically be more competitive.
But Les is a character. If we were down there during that clutch change, we might have needed the beeper on the microphone, mightn't we?
Yeah, you've nailed that, Rusty. He's a fiery character, but a very smart individual, and he's worked with many good races. And his son, James Small's a current crew chief in the NASCAR Cup Series, which is a phenomenal effort for an Australian
friend of
engineer.
yours too, isn't he? So back onto the straight. Seaton over 10 seconds from Nathan Hearn, who holds on to second. This has been a really impressive performance from Kyle Girton. He's showed the nose. He's had a couple of cracks, hasn't he? But hasn't really put a foot wrong.
Yeah, it's exactly right, and it's challenging. It looks like you really need to try and set up the passing manoeuvre around the outside of turn one, which we saw Aaron Seaton do successfully. Kyle had a crack at it, but it is a challenging proposition. And the thing with the cars all having the same engines and the same horsepower, the straight line differences are insignificant. It comes from the corner speeds. It comes from your exit of the corner to help set down the run down the straight. And if they all have the same run onto the front straight, it's challenging to be able to get a passing manoeuvre done in a straight line.
So our camera made the move there. That gave you a real-time sense of the gap between Seaton and this fight for second place. And Nash Morris he's there. He's joined this group.
Yeah, it's a fiery little pack here, and like I said, Nathan Hearn I don't think he's as comfortable with the setup of the car at the moment, just using that rear tyre a little bit, so he's kind of backing them up a bit here, and Kyle's looking for a way through. Nash Morris catching the back. You see in the background behind Nash is Owen Kelly, so he's really ranging up on this group, and I mean, Owen Kelly with 3 laps to run, he could still snag a podium here, which would be pretty impressive.
Good, down the inside from Nash Morris. That's for position on Tim Brook. Brook will be ideally placed for those final corners that bring them onto the front straight. Girton's kind of trying to give Nathan Hearn the hurry up. If those guys are coming. And there's Owen on that group now, as Jack rightly pointed out. This is going to be fascinating for the run to the flag. We hear this will be the final lap. Aaron on the run home. now 12.1 seconds in front and with the fastest lap of the race so far. But we're all focused on this fight for second position, and Kelly's there now too.
He is, and you know, Kelly and Paul Morris, Nash's father, go way back as teammates from the 2-litre touring car days in the 90s. So this would be a cool experience for both Nash and Owen Kelly to be racing each other now. And I reckon Owen will try and make a move down here as we wait for them to come through turn 3 into shot, right on cue. Thank you very much, Nathan Hearn. And let's see if Owen Kelly puts a move on Nash Morris. Yes, he's looking up the inside there, Rusty.
Hearn mid-track, so corner's running out. He's up the inside there of Nash Morris into Siberia. Quality drive from Aaron Seaton. While we're focusing on this battle, we do need to make that point. Once he executed that pass, that wild, that really, brave pass, he's been off, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. He's done a great job. Got massive car speed aboard that number 1 car, and, you know, he's just driven to the front and extended that lead the whole time. But this is where the action is. Kyle Girton was almost using the bumper bar there on Nathan Hearn. He gave him a little touch out of Siberia as they get into MG for the final time.
Last corner for Aaron Seaton. Checkered flag awaits for the V8 Sleuth Mustang. He's about to take it out. Really good job by the number 1 here at Phillip Island. Who will grab second? Oh, lose for Nash Morris. What a shame in the final corner. Kelly in the tow, chasing Tim Brook. Hearn's going to hang on for second place. Girton has a look, can't do it. Can Kelly get there? Not quite. What a run to the line from Owen Kelly from last to position number 5.
Yeah, great job, Owen Kelly. And it's a shame for Nash Morris. Last corner, last lap, he just dropped the wheel on the entry to that final corner and had a big oversteer slide. He managed to gather it all back up and cross the line in 8th, but take nothing away from him. Up at that point, a terrific performance. But it was all Aaron Seaton. He did a brilliant job once he got out in front, got that awesome passing manoeuvre done, and so much pace aboard that car.
So excited for the remainder of this championship. I know you would like to drive one. I'd love to see that yarn happen. But I mean, the addition of Nash Morris, Ben Grice, and others, the style of driving we've seen from Aaron Seaton here, who's the benchmark, and then the way Kelly came through from the back of the grid. So many stories to follow. Brett Holdsworth, we know his brother Lee will be back in action this afternoon in the TCR car as well. And Matt McKeldin gets inside the top 10 for Kubota Racing. Nice job. Eden Thornborough, maybe not the best weekend here compared to what he enjoyed in Tasmania. We'll see him improve as the season goes on. 23 cars in all.